and I'm willing to do anything, no matter how painful it is, no matter how much I have to go through. I want to do that because I want to get to the core of truth of myself and be that.
Hello, Beth.
Hello, Em.
I want to ask you now to speak just a little bit about yourself.
I am Beth, and I am in the UK, and I have known you, Em, since 2019, 2020, somewhere around then. I can't remember exactly. We have done a number of videos together on your YouTube channel, and previously I was named Liz, but I had, as you did, a change of name along the way.
Yeah.
So now I am Beth. That feels more fitting to who I feel like I am now. But then, who am I? This is the ongoing difficult question, because it's always changing. There is no, and I still have no definitive answer as to who I am. I am me, forever changing.
Yeah.
So I would do my best to put some kind of context in it, though, in that I have always danced, and I went off and did dance for my career and then moved into somatic practices. I then became a mother to three sons. During that time was really difficult for me because being who I am couldn't really cope with having to look after three small human beings. So that was one of my very big squeeze points that did lead me to become an alcoholic. So I had addiction issues going on. I had the suicidal thoughts going on and wishes. I didn't actually get anywhere with that, but certainly those thoughts were there. I also was also having quite intense negative experiences with spirit at this point as well. So everything was coming all in hand. Anyway, 2017, I have surgery, and this is kind of like the turning point for me, where after this surgery, I say to myself that the surgery changed me, was one of those things that changed me. I felt different and I wanted to be different. I realized in that moment I couldn't continue as to who I was. So that's when I entered doing somatic trauma therapy for myself and uncovered loads of stuff for there and healed a lot of stuff from that. And then about a year and a half after I started therapy was when I had my first intense expansive experiences with actually the mother light. The source consciousness was my very first one. And heart openings and spontaneous Kundalini experiences happening. And then on, I had experience upon experience upon experiences of direct contact, of out of body experiences, dreams, visions, downloads. I started journaling and was dialoguing with myself, but also with other beings coming in also. So that's how I started my relationship with other beings. And that kind of has continued all the way through. And I've had various things go on in my life and really hard moments in my life that I've had to deal with whilst also all of this is going on. So it's been very much for me a question of exactly what we were saying. How do I maintain, how do I hold, and how do I anchor all of these experiences and what they're teaching me and these relationships I'm having with these beings and the information they're giving me and the guidance they're giving me? How do I anchor that and be that whilst there's also a lot of really difficult stuff going on in my life too? I'm so glad I've had all those really difficult experiences now, because it has made me become this embodied person, confident within myself now about who I am and being who I am. And like you, I've gone through many versions of how do I be me in this world. I don't fit in. I don't know where to be. I don't know how to put myself into this world. There's been so much of that over the years. Still having relationships with beings. I've also moved into this space now where I, like you, and being able to dialogue with them in real time. So it's kind of like the channeling thing that we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. So allowing that part of my evolution now, this again is me opening myself up to even more of myself to be mm-hmm. able to do this. Mm-hmm. And to be able to receive these frequencies and this information that comes through in real time and speak that mm-hmm. out loud. It's just been, and still continues to be, this continual process of change, of evolution, of grounding, of integration, of embodiment. The key thing here being embodiment. This is all about becoming whole and about recognizing your whole self, which includes the part of you that grieves, which includes the part of you that is angry, which includes the part of you that is sad and is worried. And it also includes all of the parts of you that know how to move through this, and that you have the inner guidance, the inner wisdom already within you in your own bodies. And this has been my journey about returning to who I actually am. I was just going to say, the flow isn't all nicey, as you say. There's been a lot of, I've been through, and I'm sure you have too, there's been a lot of dips. There's been a lot of deaths and rebirths that I've been going through. Yeah. Some really difficult things have been coming up that I've had to face, because you get to a moment where none of the old stuff can go with you. You have to drop it. The more that we do this, the more that we cycle round, actually, the closer we get to the core truth of who we actually are. Yeah. It's going with the ups, the downs, the rounds, the bounce, the doubt, the anger, the bliss, the happiness, the openness, the expansions, but also learning to ride with the more contracted states as well. But again, I think what's different is learning that contraction doesn't mean small, and it doesn't mean going backwards. It just means you're taking a moment to come back within yourself to re-find your center again. You have to find a new center, and the coming back into the smallness is finding that recenter, so that you can then come back out into yet another expansion. And it's just an ongoing process, as you know. And that's the flow we're talking about.
I love that explanation. But then the other thing that I notice in that spot that you're talking about is you can almost feel, well, not almost, you can feel the old version of you and what she might have chosen in a before orientation, right? Like you can feel, it's almost like, we've both done a lot of trauma and somatic work personally on ourselves, and you can feel the one that would have been triggered, right, in a bigger way. That's how I feel. I mean, I just notice her. I notice, oh, look at, you would have done that, I feel. And now we're just observing her, we're just observing and acknowledging and not denying it, not denying that wounding was there. It's not that it's still there, right? It's that it's like this, what do you call that? It's like a ghost of an old template or something.
Yeah, it's like an outer shell. I've definitely had numerous experiences of this recently, of literally feeling somatically like this old outer shell of me coming away and kind of unzipping itself and actually coming out. And then I'm stepping into this new body. And this is kind of what I've experienced, is that, I'm observing these kind of sheddings going on. And in those sheddings are multiple layers of programming, of belief systems, of wounding. And this is why we need to go through these deaths and rebirths. It's very much, again, I'm going to come straight into this thing. I'm going to go straight into the whole, the mother presence. It's very much about being in and with and as the mother presence, because you do have to, I feel, learn to become your own mother again, because I am sure that pretty much most of us have had, on a spectrum of wounding with the mother wound.
Yeah.
From our own earth mothers that we've had, and bless them, they've done the best that they could in the moments that they were given all of their patterning and wounding and everything. So if we can come back to our own mother and be the mother for ourselves, then we can actually heal that mother wound and actually therefore let more of this mother presence in and become even more of this mother presence that we actually are.
Yeah, which is like the rest of ourselves. It's like the suppressed part of us that we're inviting forward again. And, it's not like there's a manual for it. But I feel that these contact experiences, even more and more over the last year, I would say, even though I've always known this, and I've even, the transmissions I've brought through over the years have said it numerous times that this is why we have these contact experiences ultimately, is to say, excuse me, just want to drop in and say, you guys are more than you were told you were, you think you are, whatever, and we want you to know who you are. And that's a really unpopular disclosure. But that's my disclosure.
Yeah. And I am 100% with you. Absolutely 100% with you. It's really difficult to not yet start talking about the film, so I don't know whether you want to go into that.
I know.
But I'll hold off for a sec. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but I'm feeling that, especially from things that I've read from other experiences now who are coming out of the woodwork and talking about their experiences, a lot of people, a lot of experiences are still in the stage of obviously trying to work out what that experience was and what does it mean. And this is such a natural thing that we end up doing because, this is the moment that the other, the bigger us, meets our smaller selves. So you're going to kind of go, that was really shocking. I don't really understand what happened. I'm very disoriented by it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to be with it. And I think there's a lot of experiences that stay within that band.
The victim, also the victimhood.
And just trying to kind of figure it out what it was all about. But but I think this is it. I think the deeper message, as we both know, is that it's less about actually what happens in these experiences and more about what you feel and what you actually experience.
What's it bringing to the surface? What is that fear within you, or that, to return it to yourself, and examine, self-examination, emotional, somatic examinations, so that you can engage with what the purpose of that higher vibrational meeting us is for. It's like, look at, you say you want to meet higher non-human intelligence, higher vibrational intelligence, but what happens when we just come at the outer edges of your consciousness, your perimeter? What happens? You react. So they're just kind of reflecting to us, right? This is where you are.
And I think this is like almost one of the crucial points that we're at here right now, is making this distinction about and I'm going to use the term ontological shock, because this for me is really the foundation of all of these experiences, and also the purpose of these experiences.
Yeah.
That each one that you experience forces you to take a look at who you are in terms of, are you a small human, or are you this something else? And if you are this something else, what is your relationship with that something else? Mm-hmm. And this is why a lot of people do go into shock and into trauma with these experiences, because it's the body itself that is actually responding to meeting something more than it's actually been used to and actually been trained to and actually been programmed to. Our bodies have been programmed just to accept the human experience. So the moment it comes up against something bigger than just the human experience, the body itself goes into survival mode. It goes into ontological shock. It doesn't know what to do with that. And I think this is the process that we've both been through. And I'm not saying nobody else has done this. I'm sure there's lots of people who have also gone through this experience that we have too.
I sure would like to talk with them.
Me too.
You know?
Me too. I'm absolutely sure we're not the only ones. But we're the only ones that we know, that we talk to. So, and what I find also really interesting is that we have both come to this from our own paths, our own journeys, and our own experiences, but we've come to the same conclusion, which is that every time that you have an experience, what it's really asking you to do is to accept that other part of yourself into, let's say, first of all, the nervous system. It's the nervous system that needs to get used to these other bigger frequencies that we're not used to. And that is, I feel, part of the training that these beings give us when they keep coming to us and keep giving us these experiences. Each time it's going, where, just generally speaking, and in a curious kind of way, it's like, where is your body sitting right now with this kind of experience, with these kind of frequencies? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where is that spectrum for you? And I always remember this, that you had that moment in one of your experiences where you realized that there was a choice, that you could let this go, either keep going into the fear and let the body decide for you what this experience is going to be, or you can actually say to the body, no, this is okay. And you can actually talk to your own nervous system and go, this is safe, this is okay, we're okay here. And that for me is the crucial turning point, the realization that we have our own agency in this. We do have a choice about how this goes. Yeah. And also I would like to say that it's like, not everybody has a great experience. But again, where is the fear? Is it your fear? Is it the body's fear? Is it coming up against your belief systems or any old emotional wounding? There's so much that we can unpack from each of these experiences, and how the body is responding to it, how we are responding to it emotionally, and just where we're generally sitting with the whole thing. And I feel this, as you're saying, these contact experiences, these direct contact experiences, is the disclosure. This is the thing that's telling us what's actually out there, what's actually available to us, learning about ourselves, and what actually is available to us in becoming something bigger than just this human being. That's where the answers are. This is where the disclosure lies. It's within the people who are experiencing it. And it's not with any 3-letter agency. It's the people. It's people like us. And there are many, many, many of them. And there are more and more having more experiences now. Maybe this is the gateway into the film, but I do feel this film, Disclosure Day, is a gateway to more people remembering.
We're responding to this film. There's something within us. And whether it even mirrors what happens in the film when it is framed in this way, that Margaret, is that her character's name? I should know the characters' names by now. We've both seen it twice. That she was dormant until the bird flew in, is my understanding, and chirped at her a few times, and her gifts started being activated. So before we launch into it, I just want to say that both Zuzana and I, the other day, Zuzana wrote to me and said, I don't know about you, but, I just kind of woke up this morning and I just have zero interest in the whole experiencer thing anymore. It's just like I feel so like, okay, that's done. Let's move on. And I was experiencing the same exact thing.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
yeah, yeah, it's like, okay, cool, thanks, Spielberg. It doesn't, we don't get sucked into it and it doesn't become part of our identity or our narratives or anything. It's like, cool that you did that. Cool that you did that with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Cool that this is who you are and that you are using your platform and your art to speak to so many of us. So I'm really grateful for that. But I have even, in my last article, I don't think I used the word experiencer because you know what I've noticed? That whenever a term or a phrase goes mainstream to a certain degree, you can kind of feel it, and then you don't even want to use that term anymore. It's like, oh, I need to figure out a new one now because that one's lost its signal, of what it actually is. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like I've gone through, and I'm sure this is actually the same for you. It's like I feel like I've gone through so many now evolutions because of these
Yeah.
experiences that
Yeah.
that term now doesn't mean anything because I've
No.
evolved past that label or that terminology because these experiences have evolved us into something else.
Right. But you know what? It's like I always felt like I had to settle for that word. Always feeling like this isn't okay. I'll use it because we have to use words and terms to communicate.
Yeah.
But as you and I have talked many times, it's like the words they're just not enough. That because everything is so. The data comes through the frequency. The data comes through the field, and it's these experiences are what open your body instrument to be able to receive the information and then translate it to the best of our ability, right? There is one more thing I wanted to add that from the perspective of being a child with the body and having experiences as a child, there's a lot of data there because you're not suppressing the truth of the power of the body instrument, right? That's what that data tells me, that the body is actually designed to do this and to interface with the field. And it's been dumbed down because we're cut off from these parts of ourselves. Like if we show it in our world, then we're judged and we're ostracized and we're made fun of, because we like to talk about the feeling of love in these interactions now once you get through the fear, or once you process, and of course it's ongoing. I'm not saying we're done. That's not it at all. But I feel like the evolution has been, we land here, we're integrated, depending on our family situations and the toxicity that is handed down generation to generation. Some of us can maintain or sustain that note. It's about returning, to me, it's about returning to that memory. This is what we're restoring. And it's an amazing instrument. It is a musical instrument to me. That's how I like to define it. Yeah, I just wanted to say that one piece, that I definitely see the pattern of getting buried or disconnected from this, our technology being suppressed by living in this reality that is off balance, off center, not whole, fragmented, right? So we do our best to survive and navigate this, all the while feeling. Those are where the I don't belong here feelings come from, I feel, Um, none of us, none
Mm-hmm.
of us are supposed to be navigating this with pieces, just pieces of ourselves. It's about the restoration and the reorientation.
Yeah, I'm very much in agreement with you there. And I think this is, again, coming back to what we were saying a minute ago. It's like these experiences, and each one of these experiences is another part of ourselves. And that's the whole point. The experience is the another part of ourselves.
Yeah.
And it is the task of us as human beings to help reintegrate these larger parts of ourselves so that we can become whole again,
Yeah.
because this is the fragmented self. And I find it interesting that so far, when the term fragmented self has come up, it's very much under the psychology branch of thinking and of belief systems. And really, I feel this is about actually, literally, physically, viscerally, through the feeling, knowing of the body, that is the framework for bringing ourselves back into one piece again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is where it sits, and you're quite right in saying that this is what we have in these bodies is amazing technology. It is designed to carry this larger self that we have
Mm-hmm.
in this physical human form body that we have. That's the technology that we have.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel this is what's so greatly missed, is that this is just our natural design. It is naturally designed to hold all of these huge, larger parts of ourselves. And I mean that not in, again, not in the psychology way, not in the cognitive way, but in the body. It's learning to how can we in the body return these parts of ourselves so that they sit in our daily experience. They become our daily experience, because this process is our becoming of who we actually are. It comes through the body.
I think the hardest part is not the contact and the integration and the contact and the integration, that back and forth. The hardest part for me has been, how do I be here with this? How do I not deny this? And how do I not shrink back into something that is going to make the person around me feel comfortable and safe, or not trigger them? So it becomes a walking on eggshells thing, and that's not saying anything hierarchical at all. It's the reality of it. If you begin to embrace and embody more of yourself, others around you feel threatened, because they don't know perhaps why. They don't understand why. They just know that if I hang around with you and we have conversations, then I'm going to reveal too much. And I've got to keep this thing together, because this is how I make my living. This is my family. This is my house. This is my mortgage. This is my, it is, as you know, it's all tied to the currency of the smaller system instead of the currency of the greater system. And once you start feeling that true currency, it does, there are choices to be made, and a lot of trust and a lot of patience, right? Um, and
But
so I understand.
yeah, go on. Sorry, carry on.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like this is the bigger ask of these experiences, though.
Yeah, it is.
I feel the bigger ask is actually what it's asking is that exact same question. How can we hold and maintain the holding of these frequencies within ourselves, no matter what is going on around us? and who gets triggered and whatever is going on in the physical world,
Yeah.
in whatever arena that is. That is the bigger ask. This is about becoming and embodying the Divine Mother. And
Yeah.
I want to
Reviving
unpack,
her.
reviving her.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
unpack that too. It's like the
Yeah.
Divine Mother is literally going and feeling and sensing and knowing. It's coming back to that technology that we
Yeah.
have within our
Yep.
body.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Divine Mother. It
Mm-hmm.
carries its own intelligence, its own energies, its own wisdom, the Divine Mother. This is what these experiences are asking us to do, is to gather in these other aspects of ourselves through the workings of the Divine Mother, the feeling, knowing nature.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
basis. This is the foundation of everything. And
Yeah.
then the even bigger ask, as you're saying, is how can you keep that within you? How can you keep that anchored, not only within yourself, but actually, how can you anchor it for other people? How can you anchor it for Mother Earth? How can you anchor it for the collective?
Mm-hmm.
That's the bigger ask.
Mm-hmm. And
But
that's
it's
what we're
also the most
navigating.
difficult.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is also the most difficult ask.
Yeah.
But that
It
is the
is. And
challenge.
I just feel like there's front runners, that are doing this. And it's almost like, I want to say it's like the new operating system, but it's not new. But there's something there that's identifiable, I feel, or relatable to people, that if we called it the new operating system, which is a resonance-based operating system rather than a linear, I've referred to it as the dot mode and the nodal mode that Federico Fagan spoke of, and I was really inspired by that this is the transition. And, we're talking about the hard part. The hard part is being okay with being completely misunderstood. And you can almost feel that and I've talked about this a lot, about the glaze, when the glaze comes over people and they reject, it's like, I don't know what you're saying. I'm getting really tired. I got to go. It's hard to invite people into a new operating system when they're still very much attached to the old identity and everything attached to that identity, the one that fits into this before
Yeah.
world, which feels so
But I
gone at this point.
but I think here is the other crucial point. It's like our job isn't to invite people in.
I know.
Our
That's been a hard
it's
adjustment. I
yeah.
tried that for many years. I tried that. Sorry, I had to get that in.
It's literally all about us embodying it, becoming it, and radiating it. We're not asking anybody to do anything else with it. They can do
True.
they can choose to do whatever they like with that. And this is
Right.
again coming back to the bigger ask of us. It's like whatever anybody's response is, can you still hold and can you still anchor and can you still
Oh,
be this mother presence?
100%. You're absolutely right. And at the same time, I feel like we're so many of us that are in this same space are not talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're siloed in our own, we're so used to being alone. We're so used to, I got to keep this strong and centered. And so it's a lot of practice, daily, hourly, minute by minute, sometimes of carrying this, and it gets better. It really does get better and stronger. And sometimes you can feel a slight pull, like you want to shrink or you want to pretend that you're not who you are. But then the body goes, ah, ah, ah. we've arrived in this taller place now. We're not going to hunch over. And so see, it is the body, as these messages have said over the years. It's the body that's going to carry us across this threshold, that knows how to do this. It's not our thoughts, and like you said at the start, we can't haul that old stuff across this threshold. It just doesn't work. You can't negotiate. Well, I'll walk across the threshold, but I still need to do this, and this, or I don't want to. I have to manage my funds or my real estate portfolio, or I have to, not saying that any of that is bad or wrong. I'm just saying, is that the priority? Is that what pulls you or keeps you in the old orientation? There's a way to have all of it, but we got to get across the threshold first and welcome all of it.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many things in that.
I know. We're supposed to be talking about the Spielberg film. We don't have to do anything. I'm just saying, I think it's hilarious that we haven't even talked about the film yet.
No.
And how long have we been doing this?
A while.
A while. 40 minutes.
And I think this is a real thing that needs to be clearly put, in that it doesn't mean that we have to not engage in this 3D physical world. We still have to eat. We still have to go and buy the groceries. We still have to pay the taxes.
Yep. We're navigating both.
Exactly. But the whole thing is that if we allow this leap of faith. Oh, okay. I want to go down that path first, actually. So for me, the recent things that I've been going through and the recent deaths and rebirths I've been going through is having to fully commit to not thinking. And what I mean by that is I'm having to fully commit to being in, knowing, and trusting and forming new frameworks through my body's knowing, through my own divine knowing. So it's now that is making my world. It is my world now. This is the recent commitment I've made to myself. Is, a lot of my old stuff was to keep thinking about, okay, so how do I integrate these experiences? What do these experiences mean? How can I go about this? How can I be in this world? How can I still be me, but still be in this world? There's all this kind of cognitive toing and froing and pulling and pushing going on.
Strategizing.
Exactly. And it's like, for me, the recent guidance has been literally, you need to drop all of that 100%. Literally, that's the old stuff. Leave it behind. The new space is, no, you know what your body can do. You know what your body can feel. You know what your body can receive. You know what your body can transmit. You know what your body can read from the field. This is where we want you to be right now. This is the coming back to the Divine Mother. This is where she sits. And it's this commitment to and just speaking from my own experience here, this is my commitment to myself now, is I'm literally not going to listen to my brain anymore. I'm literally 100% in my feeling, knowing mother presence. This is now my world. This is what I carry around with me now, every single moment of every single day. And this is how I think, how I breathe, how I feel, how I do, how I see, how I perceive. And out of this space, which is exactly what you were saying, out of this space, then another form of thinking can arise.
Yes. And it's almost like a hybrid. I mean, it eventually comes together and they work together. It's not fully one or the other. I mean, quick example I can share of what you're saying, and you tell me if I'm understanding it in the way that you're explaining it. My writing process for this solo performance show that I started in 2012, and I've picked it back up again, about this life of contact, and I picked it back up again before the Spielberg movie hit the scene. So it's in the air, you know. But what I do here is I run through it. I have about 30 minutes of it fully formed, and then the rest of it is in the work still, the pieces of it. But yesterday, I'm running through the pieces of it, and then when I was done, I said, talking to my body, what am I going to say next? What does my body want to do? What am I speaking? And then I just I back off with, well, I need to write this part now, and I need to write that part, and it needs to fit with the part, then we start going there. Well, I just let my body show me, and it was amazing. It actually amazed me how it started talking. This has happened a few times. It started talking. I started talking, and it took me into other parts that I had not thought of. Almost like channeling, right? That what we call channeling. We just move into it. It becomes the dance, and you're very familiar with the dance. So yeah, does that feel like? I mean, that's been a magical thing lately.
Yes. Now this touches upon something that was literally coming to me. I think it was even yesterday, which was about creativity, the creative act and creation. And this was exploring, and I was getting a lot of downloads about this. And this is exactly what it was talking about, is exactly what you've just described. It's like the true creative project, or the true creative process, is being in this completely yielding state to the body. And it's the body that leads us through. It's the body that points us into the thing that we need to go and explore next. It's the body that says, okay, let's go down this path and really unpack this, and I want to go and explore that path.
Right.
These are the true creative juices that are within all of us, within every single one of us. And when we touch upon those, then things come alive. This is literally everything, the mother presence, us becoming alive with life. This is all about life and vitality and excitement and joy, and just really enjoying, exploring, and being curious about things. And, the body will tell you, oh, I'm really curious about that thing over there. Can we go and explore it? And then
and
go,
people
all right.
too.
And people too.
And other people. It's like like I met somebody a few months ago, and I just wanted to giggle all the time when I was around her, and it was like, well, this is unusual, and then I found out that there was just this natural, don't have to force the conversation. It was just all so resonant, right? So that's what where the body takes us, is this is living in resonance. And this is what I'm temporarily calling the new operating system, but it's not new. We're restoring the original state. The original architecture is, I was using true architecture. Now I'm on the original architecture. Because that one just feels better right now. So,
the experience of ourselves is this true architecture of the body, this original architecture of the body. That is who we were designed to be. And when we talk about resonance, that just means that we are now in the same space as the original architecture of our own bodies. It's the bodies that lead us.
And this is where I've landed now in this evolutionary process. And it was a while back. I wrote that article about the evolutionary mapping of contact, that It's our original architecture that's contacting us.
Yes. Yes.
It's saying, hey, hi, and then we go, oh, scary being, because we don't have any reference for it.
Yeah.
So the everything comes rushing in with, here's what's scary, here's what's, oh, you want scary. It's almost like dreams, right? Like you
Mm.
have these dream images and symbols when you come back or when you wake up, because you don't have a way to describe it, or you don't have the words for it, so it comes back with this clothing and all of these symbols,
Mm.
so that you can, what does that mean, in the deeper sense, when
Mm.
dreams are fabulous for that. But that is the conclusion I have come to, is it is simply our original architecture reaching to us in this limited looping reality.
Mm.
It's trying to wake us up. It's trying to reach us. It's trying to say, remember, remember, remember. And then, as Rumi says, don't go back to sleep. You have this amazing opportunity right now, right?
Yes. Oh, I love this. I love the way that you're putting this. That it just feels so right and so resonant that this absolutely is our, and we've always termed it in our past conversations as it's ourselves that are waking ourselves up to
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
how you just said that a minute ago, I love that.
It's not a final landing place. Like, nothing's final. This is constantly moving and
Mm.
expanding, and we're understanding more and more and more as we go, because we are engaged with it. We're not resisting it. So it's giving us more and more and more. But as I was saying earlier, this is not a popular way to frame disclosure. So let's take 5 minutes and talk about the film.
Hmm. Yep. I'm up for that.
Speaking of disclosure,
Yeah.
what I feel is that Spielberg is a master of reaching multiple levels of human awareness to, at the very fundamental level, entertain,
Mm.
to address disclosure in story format in these ways and frames that people have been, they've been exploring all these frameworks and these stories throughout time. So there's a little bit for everyone, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
But he's also saying so much more than that.
Mm.
And I feel that this is where the experiencers who have navigated beyond the fear, who have engaged with the contact, may find themselves, is being able to receive the deeper messages that are offered in the film. And
Mm.
I don't think I'm fully projecting that. I really do feel he is a master at storytelling, and that there was something for everyone in this story.
Yeah, yeah, I so agree. And this is really interesting that we've both seen it twice. And I first went with one of my friends who I've known for years and years. So she knows exactly what's been happening with me, with all
Yeah.
the contact experiences I've had, and all of the evolutions and deaths and rebirths I've gone through. So she knows that part of me. But she herself hasn't had any of these kind of contact experiences. And it was really, really interesting. I went to see it twice, the first time with her and then the second time on my own. The first time with her was really, really interesting because I definitely felt that she was unable to reach the deeper layer of what he's putting out there within this film.
Mm-hmm.
She could not reach that at all. And just in terms of how she received the film and how I received the film, and then how we brought meaning to that film.
Mm-hmm.
And she was obviously very much kind of looking at it from the human level of the story, of the entertainment, the how he's executed all of that kind of thing. And not really able to reach down to these deeper levels of the experience of the film, because this is the other thing I really found interesting, that she obviously had gone in to see this film as a human being. I've gone in to see the film completely evolved through these experiences, which means that you have a completely different place from which you're viewing it from, and therefore experiencing it from. And I agree, there's so many deeper layers and so many deeper weavings within what he's done. Some of it I found, especially for me, I feel like the whole thing of the religion and what disclosure would do for religion, for me, that didn't really gel very well. And I could see what he was trying to do. And I could see that he tried to delve in and kind of explore the subject just enough to kind of put a little bit of a breadcrumb in there to start helping people to think about this kind of stuff. But for me, from the feeling point of view, from the experience point of view, it was so clunky. It just didn't make sense from that point of view. But then I think once we're in this space, then that subject isn't even on the radar screen. It's not an issue anyway. Do you know what I mean? And then, sorry, just to say quickly, also, I came out of that viewing with her. I was coming out of the movie, I was wanting to feel what the rest of the people in the movie theatre were feeling and seeing and knowing, and what their responses were. And we came out, there's like outside of the cinema, there was like a little area that you could go and sit in. So we went and sat out there. And then I spotted the people who were coming out of the film, and you could tell out of those people who's actually had experiences and who hasn't had experiences.
Right.
And the difference for me was like, wow, this is the first time that I've seen it in person. And again, when I talk about seeing, I'm actually talking about feeling, knowing, seeing, because you can see on a completely different level when you're in this feeling and knowing. You immediately pick up on this frequency, and you know those people who've had contact and those that haven't. And I just found that really interesting too.
That is interesting, very interesting to observe that, to be able to. And again, that's not through thought.
No, absolutely not. It's taking that whole layer, and this is kind of how I've seen it and felt it as well. It's like the thought layer literally is this web of stuff, this web of structure. And it's like that's the thing that's been overlaid upon us. And what these experiences do is to help you get underneath that layered web. And see the truth and feel the truth and know the truth, because this is where the true knowledge sits. This is where the true knowing sits.
It's like a current that runs underneath, you know, that river or current that runs underneath it all.
Yes. And it has no distortion in it. That's, again, for me, the main thing. There is no distortion in its underlayer. We are the ones that add the distortion whilst we're trying to process these experiences and evolve through these experiences. We're the ones that add the distortion to it. But actually, again, that's the whole point of these contact experiences, is for us to work through our own distortions to find out what those distortions are and go, actually, no, I'm going to consciously choose not to be in that distortion anymore. I'm going to choose to return to truth. And
we can become aware of it. Otherwise, we would never become aware of it, because in that relational space between who we think we are and this otherly being, it's like that's where we can begin to work with some relational experience of it, rather than it's all inside of me and it's just me. That's the thing. They're not aware that there is something more. So once you become aware that there is something more, then that's when you can do or act upon it or engage with it. You can have a relationship with it. I thought of you when she went through, you know, it's the terrifying train tracks and train scene, and him lifting her in the last moment, and she's just full on in fear. And they land inside the train car, and it's filled with musical instruments. It's filled with pianos, and in that moment, I feel that because she had all that fear, it brought up all the other fear from, the trauma around her dad and her dad's, I think it was Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, yeah.
Yeah. And the pain and the suffering that was trapped in the body because she just went through that really fearful, jarring thing, then it was like, okay, this is coming up now too. Let's just bring all the fear to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, just with your somatic work, and then she's like in full on panic attack, and he just takes her hands and puts them on the piano strings.
Mm-hmm.
And that grounded her, that connected her. Just keep breathing, keep breathing. And then because that occurred, that was a big part of her. And then obviously going through the experience as children again, then she became embodied. And she could look at Hugo. Do you remember she couldn't look at
Yeah.
Hugo?
Yeah.
Then she could look at Hugo. She was in her body. She was present. She had her power back.
Mm.
And then that's when she she can use the tool, the alien technology, if you will, just representing the alien technology within us.
I so want to ask you about that actually, because I know you've
Yeah, go
had
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
experiences. Actually, can I just say first before we go down that path? Well, I've still got it fresh in my head. It's like, yeah, I did think that was an absolutely beautiful moment where he took her and he hugged her, put his arms around her, gave her that bodily contact and helped her ground again, because this is
She
the
did that for
thing.
him as children.
Yes,
He did
yes.
it. He did it for her
To
as
her,
adults.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think this is again another really valuable insight in that this is about nervous system regulation. This is about how can we regulate ourselves, but also how can we find co-regulation? Where does that where does that other thing come from that we could help regulate us?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And this opens up a whole nother thing that I've noticed recently as well. But it's like, again, coming back to my own experiences, how I've been able to integrate these so much now is by understanding that once you've got over the fear thing, there is so much love and presence there that is actually, like we were saying earlier, another part of ourselves. So it's like, okay, the recognition is that, okay, now I can actually use that experience and that frequency as my embodied memory, my embodied being, because I've taken time to integrate that. I can use that to help regulate myself.
Mm-hmm.
So this becomes you helping to regulate your own self,
Yeah.
which for me then speaks to the larger thing of us, not only reclaiming our own power, but also being able to have our own agency and also to have our own sovereignty. So again, we're talking about relational dances, let's say, relational dances.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the most important messages also coming through from the film, which is a really deep one, which is this regulation can be found within us. This is all about us coming back to ourselves first before we
Yeah.
then enter into relation with anybody else. We have to be regulated. And this again comes back to what we were saying about how can you anchor, how can you continue to anchor these frequencies and embody these frequencies and be these frequencies. Well, it's through this recognition and realization that these other parts of ourselves are the regulating moment of our own selves. That's what helps us to get through every single day. Is, okay, this is a larger part, I'm going to bring it in, this is actually safe, My
Mm-hmm.
body doesn't feel safe, but I'm going to use this other safe thing to help this now regulate. This is going to be
Mm-hmm.
my co-regulation system going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is the moment of meeting our maker. This is the moment of us having our own direct contact with divine source, love, mother presence.
Right.
This is where we need to be before we can truly be in relation to anybody else.
That there it is, bingo, right there. It's like, what is it like to be in actual relationship? Not, this is a big part of my solo show. That's why it's like I'm going to go through what it was like to expand, and then you go back to your relationship and you're definitely not the same person, and you're constantly changing and growing. And then what you come back to is a script, an identity, role playing. And again, do we return to the role that's expected of us, or do we maintain and hold and say, you know what, I love you. I understand if you don't want to be in relationship with the one I actually am. And we both contributed to this role playing thing. We both followed the script because that's how deep the programming is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay, now what do I do? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I go to school, I do this, I do that, and I find the love of my life, my Romeo, my princess, my prince, whatever. And we're all shocked when it doesn't work out. Eventually we cannot we're not creatures that are supposed to be static. We're always growing and expanding and changing, and a relationship can be a lovely thing if there are two people or more that agree to the commitment to be fully who we are. And if that resonates with other people, beautiful. If it resonates for a time and then it moves on, beautiful. We're not meant to follow these scripts and be this static, fragmented being.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the flow. There's so many things I want to go down this road as well. Like, this is the flow again that we're talking about. Flow is change. Change is flow. And
Yeah.
this is what we need to get reused to, because we've forgotten how to be always changing and never static. We've got used to being static, and that's what we've built identities around, labels around, stories around, narratives around.
Yeah.
And again, this is part of the process that we all have to go through when we have these contact experiences, is to come out of that programming and look at what that actually was. And then I also wanted to mention the role of grief in all of this as well. We're talking about it not always being easy. There is a lot of deep grief that we all need to work through along this process.
You
And it's
got that
tough.
one right.
It's tough.
Yep. We're grieving so many things, right?
Yes.
We're grieving. It's so multi-layered. You're right.
Yes. And I feel that's such an important thing to mark in this conversation, because it is pivotal to us breaking through, is to actually face our grief and actually name the grief and what we're actually grieving about.
Yeah.
Because the more that we can do that, the more we can honestly face that grief and be with that grief. And then in the process of that, then naturally it changes. We move through that process, and no longer does that grief hold us in the same way that it once did before.
Yeah.
And I feel this is the emotional process that we all need to go through.
Yeah. 100%. I remember when I first started doing the dialogue, and many years into it, lots of grieving. Lots of, sometimes not fully being able to name it at first, which is also another thing about the body. It'll bring us into grief sometimes, and it takes a little bit for the mind to catch up. You can name aspects of it, but until we allow it to keep flowing through, then it'll reveal. And then it's like, oh my God, it's such an exquisite feeling. I don't think people talk about this enough. It's an exquisite feeling when you reach that space, or at least a breathing space. And you feel good. You feel a little bit more power. You feel a little bit more clarity. It's like that space opened more inside of you, and more of you could arrive.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Just like I was
Yes.
saying with what happened to the character in the train car.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. More of her arrived.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So what other parts of the
Did
film?
you
Go
were going to
ahead, you
say
talk
no?
about whatever
So
you
no.
want.
I've just totally forgotten. I was going to go somewhere else because you'd said
Okay,
something,
I'm
and
sorry.
then I can't remember what the heck that was now. So
That's a common thing with us.
yeah. Fear. We were talking about fear, and
Oh, okay.
once you experience a fearful experience, so you were saying, coming back to the film now, about her being on the train track and the car, and that whole experience obviously exposing a lot of fear within her because it was a very fearful situation, and then
In
that
present
being
moment. In present moment,
in present
right?
moment,
Mm-hmm.
that was almost the gateway, like you said, to her then having all these other fears come up, and experiences and pain coming up. And I
Yeah.
do feel, again, this is almost for me the beauty of this process, that which people don't want to be with and find it too difficult to be with. And I totally understand that, because it is really difficult to be with all this stuff, and especially like for her in that moment, obviously a lot came up in that moment. It does become overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the way through it is grounding and regulation.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're in that more okay state, then you can begin to unpack perhaps what the fears are within you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a real great learning tool and teaching lesson to have this fear come up,
Yeah.
because like you said, there's usually a lot of layers of fear that do come up in one fear. So for me, this is it's hard, yes, but it's also the excitement of this process of okay, there's a lot of fear, but let's come and unpack this. Let's see what's there, because I don't know about you, but I so want to get to that core of myself, that truth of myself,
That's
that
what I
I
was
will,
just going to say.
yeah, I literally want to do anything, and I'm willing to do anything, no matter how painful it is, no matter how much I have to go through. I want to do that because I want to get to the core of truth of myself and be that.
That's an amazing, beautiful statement right there. And it's because I feel, because I'm relating to it, it's because, yes, the first few times are hard. When we say that, we mean that. But as you do it, you get to the other side, that relief and that release, and the more of your essence comes in. Then it's like, okay, this process is really cool. And then the hard part lessens. It lessens. I mean, occasionally you might have a real doozy, that you've been saving up, or, I don't know if it's in the queue,
Yeah, yeah,
where it's like, oh, a few little ones. All right, I got that.
yeah,
Cool. Here
yeah.
comes a
A
giant
big
one. All
one.
right. So,
Definitely had that.
but at least you have the marker, the somatic markers in your body. You survived it. And not only did you survive it, you became more, and you
Yes,
expanded, and you became more connected to the field now as
yes,
a
yes.
result.
Yeah, because this again is letting go of that distortion. It's not being that distortion anymore. That's this
Yeah.
whole process,
Yeah.
is to sift through the layers of distortion that we all have, so that we can be back And I am going to say back, like you are, back to the restoration of who we actually are without all these distortions.
We have done many videos over the years. Just so lovely exploring all of this, to be able to talk about it out loud with each other. And we don't always have to have, dear God, we don't have to have the same kinds of experiences, but we find the same resonant space. And that's where the aliveness is. And that's where why I love continuing to come together and talk like this. Because
Me
this
too.
is part of the demonstration, I feel. It's not an easy thing to put yourself out there, and not everybody wants to, including some of the people that we know and have been talking with regularly, don't want to be public, and yet there's so much there to share,
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that's hard for me, because I want everybody to know about these beautiful people, beautiful beings that I know, and that navigate this and have all this strength and courage and power. So before we close, did you have anything else to say about the Spielberg's film Disclosure Day? Anything else that, like, it was like you went, oh, that's so cool, I get that, or that was an important part, or anything?
I don't think I went through either time that I saw it. I don't think I went through and thought anything else other than just purely experiencing it and feeling and seeing and knowing what was going on underneath the words, underneath the action, underneath the
Mm-hmm.
characters. What
Mm-hmm.
is these deeper messages that are coming through? And I really do feel like, again, and I'm going to bring in something that we haven't actually talked about yet, but for me, there is an equal part in this bringing back the divine mother, but returning to our natural state is also the role and the part of the divine masculine and what he plays too.
Yeah.
We haven't yet talked about this whole character Daniel, um,
Yeah.
who is the representation of the masculine
I
energy.
agree. I agree.
The masculine energy brings a structure. It brings form to what we are as the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really important that the masculines also find their way back to their own selves.
Yeah.
And we're in such a toxic place with that right now. But this is the other thing, and I do feel this is happening in the world, that there are masculines finding their own way back to their own selves and
Mm-hmm.
their own masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, the masculine gives structure to which the presence can then fill out and be something,
Mm-hmm.
and both need each other, because without the masculine, the feminine is just this expanded blob of presence with no direction, no intention, nothing. It's just literally being.
Yeah.
And whilst this is the important thing to come back to, we also need to learn how to reintegrate the true masculine, which is the
Yeah.
structure, which is the undistorted structure of
Mm-hmm.
everything that sits within the
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah.
And we bring that back into ourselves, and we learn how to mix and how to dance with both the structure and the presence within our own selves. This is the divine masculine, the divine feminine, reunifying within our own selves.
Yeah.
Again, this is what brings us back to our own truth frequency, is the balancing of the two, the masculine and the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I thought the film did really well. Again, it was
Mm-hmm.
on a very subtle level, but the way that the character was portrayed with the mathematics and being able to see language in mathematics, and
Right.
the depth of just that itself,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
massive,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely massive.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
felt he did a really good job of representing what the divine masculine actually is without the distortion.
I'm glad you brought that up. That is a very important point. And he does show in the story and in the characters that each one of them separate is kind of lost and confused. But when they come together and rise to their highest purpose and self, that's when the whole thing can happen.
Yes,
And it
yes,
happened flawlessly. Yeah.
yes. And that's what I thought he was really good at doing. Spielberg was really good at portraying how that unification or how that separation works, but then
Mm-hmm.
actually what happens when that unification happens also.
Yeah.
Really, really nicely done on a really subtle level.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, again, this is so important for us each to realize this is not just about the Divine Mother. It's a lot to do with the Divine Mother. And for me, it's something that we have to come back to in order to find the true Divine Masculine.
Right. So it's about restoring, it's a big restoration job
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
then the balancing. And it did show that in the film that she had to come into that. She had to own it. She had to be it. Then they came together and achieved what they achieved in a
Yes.
remarkable way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And there were a number of times through that film, and I tried to count them and tried to do a feeling marker of them, but there was a
Yeah.
number of times when I saw it on my own that gave me goosebumps
Oh, yeah.
in that moment. And um, one of those moments was when they first met each other and they saw each other. That moment for
Yeah.
me gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
And then when they held hands in that same spot they were in when they first, it was in that lorry thing where he was sat in the chair with, they just put some kind of, they were going to extract the truth from
Right.
him or something. She
Right.
turns up. And that's when they first see each other and first are in the same room together. Now that for me, there was like almost electricity going with that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
felt that. And it's like, that's when they made eye contact and said, I know you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know you. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's another moment. That's the recognition that we've been talking about.
For sure. For sure. And the one thing that Zuzana brought up in our discussion about the film, that I agreed with wholeheartedly, is we were so relieved that it didn't become, and now we're together, and sorry, Jane, the other character, or
Mm.
sorry to her boyfriend, because we're partners now, and now we're going to get married, and and then fall back into a script. It didn't have to go to that space because it was about pure love and
Yeah.
recognition. It doesn't mean you put it into a human story.
So, so deep.
Yeah.
It speaks to sovereignty. It speaks to co-creation. It
Yeah.
speaks to truth frequency. It speaks to so many things.
Yeah.
It speaks to truth of the fact that we don't have to put everything inside this small human story.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah. The possibilities are endless.
Mm-hmm.
The world as we knew it is no longer relevant. And so it is fading. It's not of interest. Once you start landing in these new spaces, it's like, oh, wait, what's happening? What? It's not uppermost because you're restoring the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about trying to fix that old world. It's about rising into and being the new one, or the one that was us all along, the one that represents us all along. And this has been kind of a weird dream, to put it kind of simply, but not saying those things aren't real that are happening. I'm not saying there isn't pain and suffering. There's absolutely pain and suffering going on in this world. And the greatest thing that we can do is rise into who we actually are and demonstrate that so others know that this is possible, that there is more to us. So that's what drives me every day.
100% with you.
Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Em. It's been so lovely to get back together again after all this
It
time.
is. It is. And I've always envisioned this with you, to continue to, we're not coming up with a new program. We're not coming up with a new anything category from the old world. We're just doing our best to keep showing up in resonance. So thank you for showing up with me today in resonance.
My pleasure, and thank you for showing up with me. It's been a pleasure to share this space with you once again.
Thank you.